Kennedy, and yeah, they are all in suit and ties and white pants, and they do look privileged as fuck. He was educated in Dedham, Massachusetts, the Dexter School, also in Brookline, through the 4th grade.
So private school for him.
Yeah, basically all the way through. He was a Boy Scout and troop too, and attended St. Joseph's Church.
Kind of seems like a family where you could do no evil.
Pretty much. This family ended up getting themselves into a lot of trouble. We'll see when we start going through everything. Okay, fast forward a little bit. I don't know if you knew, but he has some health issues before getting shot in the head. He was hospitalized in 1934 at New Haven Hospital, where doctors thought he might have leukemia. And then in the September of 1935, I don't know what came of that. It looks like they found out he probably didn't have leukemia, but in 1935 in September, him and Kathleen, JFK and his sister Kathleen, went to London because that's actually the place that Joe Kennedy ended up being a ambassador to, was to England, and he stayed in London. And while in London, he had to leave for 2 months. He had to come back here to enroll in Princeton University after his trip. And he had to leave 2 months in due to a gastrointestinal illness. He was then hospitalized in Boston. Now, in 1940, he graduated from Harvard, and then he joined the Navy. Off to the Navy. In September 1936, Kennedy actually enrolled in Harvard and graduated in 1940. So this guy went to Princeton and Harvard. That's some fucking privileged shit right there. And not just privilege, that's hard working right there. Like I said, in London, at this time, JFK's dad, Joe Kennedy, was President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's U.S. ambassador to the court of St. James, which meant he was an ambassador to London, basically. Now I'm going to go through his military career a little bit and his political career. We're going to kind of sum this one up pretty quick here. His military career. The medals that he won in the Navy. Navy and Marine Corps Medal. The Purple Heart Medal, which everybody knows about the Purple Heart. So basically he was a decorated soldier. American Defense Service Medal. American Campaign Medal.
Asiatic Pacific.
The Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal with 3 service stars. And the World War II Victory Medal.
Boom.
So, yeah, he was in World War II, and he was kind of on the front lines. If you were in the Navy, you were basically doing everything.
So he's kind of a badass.
He was a fucking badass.
All right.
Going on to his political career prior to being president. Now, Joseph Kennedy basically convinced him that he should run for Congress. He didn't exactly want to, but he was convinced to. In 1946, he won the election for Massachusetts 11th Congressional District Representative. And he served from 1947 to 1953. This was the beginning of Jack's political career. As the years went on, JFK, a Democrat, served 3 terms, 6 years in the House of Representatives. In 1952, he was elected to U.S. Senate.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So, who exactly is Jack if we're talking about John F. Kennedy?
Oh, sorry. That was his nickname.
Oh, well, good to clarify.
Back in the day, like my grandfather is John Haven, but he was called Jack.
Really?
Yeah. That's why actually up at our cabin we have a fish house, and it says Jack Shack right above
cute.
it. I'm pretty sure it still says that, but it said it right above our fish house. It says Jack Shack, and it's kind of a homage to my
grandpa. Jack is actually John F. Kennedy.
Yep.
Okay.
Back then, that was a nickname for John. I've got a cousin, Jack, and that's just his real name is Jack.
Right, I didn't know that John would be translated to Jack. So.
It's kind of weird. I mean, you would think John was already a...
short for Jonathan.
Right. It's kind of weird. It's like William with Bill.
I guess. Well, I could... William, Will to Bill. That makes sense.
Not really. I don't know. That's just... Yeah, Jack is way off, though. All right, back on track here. Now, as a Democrat, he served 3 terms, 6 years in the House of Representatives. Like we said, in 1952, he was elected to the U.S. Senate. Soon after being elected, Senator John F. Kennedy, at the age of 36, married 24-year-old Jacqueline Bouvier. There we go.
He's robbing the cradle there. That is 12 years of a difference.
But that was pretty normal back then.
I suppose.
I mean, that's what, 8 years? Oh, wait, no. That's 12 years.
Yeah, that's what I said. That was 12 years.
I wasn't listening to you.
So he was good and established, and she's just looking for somebody that was good and established. Right. I don't think
She ended up marrying soon after he was dead.
I don't think that I'd be 24 looking for a 40-year-old wiener. Just saying.
JFK, we'll go through JFK's fuck buddies. I have a whole paper that says JFK's fuck buddies, and we will go through that because he had quite the list of women that wanted that lazy eyes nuts.
Oh my gosh. Onward.
Now, if you're wondering why her last name was Onassis after Kennedy was dead, like her name was Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. Until she died.
So she kept her late husband's last name and then her new husband's last name?
And she married that guy in 1968.
So that'd be like say,
After seeing her husband get shot in the head, she only waited 5 years to get married again.
Oh. Okay. Well, feel the love there. But I just feel like it'd be weird if, say, you and I get married and I kept the last name Wenker, because that's obviously the ex-husband's last name. So, hi, I'm Kimberly Wenker Schwartz. I feel like that's so wrong.
That's so different, though, because I think she kept it because of the Kennedy reputation.
Probably.
Because, I mean, hey, nothing against Jacqueline Kennedy, but that does seem a little fucked up that you'd get married that fast. He was becoming a very popular politician, one of the most popular of his day because of his age. For one, he was one of the younger politicians. You know, ladies loved him, especially Marilyn. And he had quite the reputation in Washington for being tough. He was a very tough, no-nonsense congressman. In 1956, he was almost handpicked for vice president. Kennedy, nonetheless, decided he would run himself in the next election after losing the 1956 election for vice president. So on July 13th, 1960, the Democratic Party nominated him as its candidate for the President of the United States of America. It ended up being the most publicized election in U.S. history. Because it was the very first televised debate was between Nixon and JFK. That's why Nixon lost. It's because the first time in history the U.S. public could see who they were voting for in live action. And I don't think they really understood what live really meant. That you couldn't really edit anything out because everybody already saw it.
Kind of like how screwed we'd be if we did this live.
Kinda. Eventually, we're gonna have to do that.
Practice makes perfect, though.
Yep. Eventually, we'll do that, guys. We'll make you a live show. I'll show you my titty nipples.
Oh, my God.
It's pretty much live anyway, because I don't cut out any of the bullshit, other than all of my fuck-ups. Like Stanley Kubrick. I fucked that up so many times last week. At the age of 43, he became the youngest president ever. On November 8th, 1960, he won the election with his vice president, LBJ Lyndon B. Johnson, who was a murderer at that point, but we'll talk about that. He killed a man. LBJ killed a man.
And still wound up in...
He killed a man, then he became mayor of a place, and then he became vice president.
Okay, did he kill like a pedophile? Was it justifiable?
An opponent.
Oh, I'm just going to take your ass out and just...
I don't know all the details on it, but I remember I watched a documentary on it. He killed an opponent in a race.
How? Like fist? Let's just square up outside?
I think he, I don't know what he did, but I think he ordered a hit. I couldn't see him doing it himself.
Okay.
And Nixon, of course, was a conservative Republican. And at the time, we're talking about the early 60s. No chance in hell for a conservative Republican to win shit. because of the flower power and all the new people turning 18 and stuff like that. And he ended up becoming our next president after him, though, after LBJ, of course. All right, so the presidential timeline. You want to do the presidential timeline? Their timeline, lady? Timeline, Kim? Kim, notorious Kim?
What if I told you I'm not in love with timelines, but I'm just doing this?
I'd be highly disappointed.
Well, there you go.
Ooh, killer tofu.
All right.
Ooh,
Are you
killer
done?
tofu.
Are you done?
Do you know what that's from?
No.
It's from Doug.
Doug.
You remember the show Doug?
Like with Patty Mayonnaise?
Yeah. You remember the band, The Beats?
No.
They had like a favorite band. They were called The Beats.
Oh.
And their song was Killer Tofu.
Oh, nope, I don't remember that.
Ooh, killer tofu.
I think I only watched that for Patty Mayonnaise. She was the shit.
You were attracted to Patty Mayonnaise?
Yes. No, it was Skeeter.
Skeeter?
Yes.
The blue guy.
He was green.
Was he? No, he was blue.
Oh, we're gonna find out right now.
Yeah, we are.
What color is Skeeter?
We're
both like... Wait, he's teal.
He's blue.
He's teal.
He is blue. He is totally blue.
Nah, Roger was the one that everybody wanted.
Roger.
Roger.
Was he the dog?
No.
Who the hell was the Roger?
Roger is... this one. The guy with the green face and the orange hair.
The bully.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the one all the babes wanted.
That's the penis I wanted to suck.
Oh, Lord.
Go ahead, babe.
Okay, presidential timeline. The election of 1960 was JFK versus Nixon. And then the new frontier was 1960, JFK's vision for America. Also in 1960, the creation of the Peace Corps, and that was an organization to help undeveloped countries. 1961, we have the flexible response, a buildup of conventional forces, non-nuclear forces. 1961, we also had the Bay of Pigs, and that was a failed invasion in Cuba by the U.S., backed by the Cuban exiles.
We're going to go into that a little bit after she's done here.
And I wanted to touch base about JFK ordering a crap load of Cuban cigars for himself and then making it illegal for everybody else to get their hands on them.
Well, of course.
Okay. 1962, we got the Cuban Missile Crisis. Did I say that weird? Missile.
It's kind of like how my daughter says pillow.
Pillow. Cuban Missile Crisis, 1962. The nuclear missiles found in Cuba, which sparked the highest level of readiness to prepare for war. They mean shit right there. You don't mess with them.
Right. No.
Right. And then 1963, limited test ban theory. And that's ban nuclear testing in the atmosphere. Which, that's probably the best idea ever.
Yep.
Of course,
probably got him killed, but...
Towards the end of 1963, obviously, the death of JFK.
Alright, so that's the end of his presidential timeline. As you can see, because he would have been dead afterwards.
So yeah, he had a good 3-year run there.
Yep.
I mean, just think about it. Trump...
He would have gotten reelected.
Donald Trump is in his 3rd year right now, and what has he all gotten done?
Now I'm going to break down his presidency a little bit. We went through the general timeline. His inauguration speech. Probably the most infamous...
You use that word a lot. Pick a different word.
Infamous speech in history. Definitely the most infamous inauguration speech. Now, babe, have you heard? Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I'm pretty sure everybody has heard that before.
That came from his inauguration speech. And he was the first president that really opened his doors to cameras inside of the White House. So you got to see little John and Caroline walking around, like having